Putting in place of regional councils and regional assemblies, most of these councils are already voting their budget with clear indications as to what these budgets will handle. And in the East region, Central African refugees continue to benefit widely from assistance from their host government, Cameroon, and other international partners. Good evening and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benen Bumagana in Yaoundé.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Once again, good evening. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has postponed the draw of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations to a date that will be announced later. The draw was originally scheduled to take place here in Yaoundé on the 25th of June. In a communique published on their website, CAF carries forward the event due to what they describe as lack of enough logistics on their part to organize the draw. Simon Lyonga has the details.
The entire continent was waiting for the event. The players and their officials are keen to know their opponents, and Cameroon has been ready for months now to showcase their might. The most recent CAF inspection team was clear with what they saw out here, that Cameroon offers a complete platform to host Africa first for the draw and then the competition.
We are very happy with what we have seen here, and we came here a while ago, and where we are standing now, if the TV takes a good swing, you can see that it's a fantastic facility.
Cameroon is therefore ready to host not only the 24-nation tournament, but the draw itself. Their press release this day recognizes this, with CAF being at the request end for the event to be carried forward. The executive on board has brought in new men who need time to better handle their story. The body is trying to better its market image, which will certainly open a better flow of cash and therefore improve on the organization of the Africa Cup of Nations. CAF and Cameroon, they say, are working hand in gloves to prepare the best Africa Cup of Nations the Jamboree has ever provided for the football glory of Africa.
Cameroonian cyclist Clovis Kamzong has emerged the overall best with the yellow jersey at the just-ended International Cycling Tour of Cameroon. Paul Dumont of Burkina Faso won the last lap from a boulevard to Yaoundé today, but Kamzong remained the overall best on the classification. Baldwin Sama.
The national anthem of Cameroon's sung for the third time as Clovis Kamzong of Cameroon grabs the yellow jersey as overall best cyclist of the race.
I am very satisfied and honored given that I have been after this jersey since 2015. Today I have won it and I am very satisfied.
During the last lap, riding from a boulevard, the first breakaway road with some 40 seconds from the pack, Bulgarian cyclist Martin Papanov imposed a 1-minute breakaway with Clovis Kamzong of Cameroon riding with the pack some seconds behind. The breakaway kept changing hands as Martin Papanov widens the time difference to 4 minutes. As they rode through Mbalmayo, a 7-man breakaway outsprinted the pack, riding 1 minute 30 seconds away as a time difference was made, while in Yaoundé with a group packed that crossed the finish line led by Paul Dumont of Burkina Faso in 3 hours 52 minutes. Due to his impressive time difference of 12 seconds from his immediate challenger, Clovis Kamzong keeps the yellow jersey as best cyclist of the competition, a jersey Cameroon last won 6 years ago.
The 17th edition of the International Cycling Tour is now history and Cameroon keeps the yellow jersey she last won in 2015. The main innovation this year was the partnership between Crtv and the Cycling Federation, where the Cameroon Radio Television for the first time sponsored the green jersey for the best cyclists. BrigadeAntiSardinard is here with the balance sheet of the tour.
An international cycling tour during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Cameroon Cycling Federation with 8 different laps succeeded with the organization, ending with a Cameroonian victory. Security was maintained throughout the race course with an impressive turnout along the different itineraries.
Sur le plan de l'organisation,
the organization was successful. Security and health concerns were all taken into consideration. Everything was fine, with no COVID-19 case reported.
The race was broadcast live on CRTV Sports and Entertainment, with CRTV sponsoring the green jersey.
Remember, 2 years ago we launched CRTV Sports and Entertainment, and today you are witnessing this beautiful competition with a Cameroonian coming with a yellow jersey. So I'm doubly satisfied, and I want to seize this opportunity to congratulate you for the wonderful you've been doing for the past 10 days, covering the 8 laps of this competition with professionalism, and I'm really very, very proud. You have to keep it up always, to be there whenever you are being called. You have to be there and, to improve our own performances.
The International Cycling Union appreciated this year's race.
For me, everything was great. The organization was wonderful, with an ever-impressive turnout. There were no irregularities.
With this success, the next challenge is the upcoming Chantal Biya International Grand Prix.
But as we wait for that, BrigadeAntiSardinard, let's talk handball. Players and staff of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Nigeria are already in Cameroon for the Senior Women's Handball Africa Cup of Nations next Tuesday. Both teams lodge at the Montfebe Hotel and are poised to face their opponents when the competition opens. Romeo Kenya reports.
2 teams, Nigeria and DR Congo, have been sojourning in this hotel. Nigeria is in Cameroon with a 20-man delegation comprised of 4 officials and 16 players. The average age of competitors is 18.
We have 2 foreign players abroad. They play close by, they play in Benin, 2 foreign players. All the other girls are the under 18 and 21 female players, and local players at home. They've been in camp together for 5 weeks now. I joined them about 2 weeks ago.
Nigeria have once clinched the trophy of the Senior Women's Handball Championship. They are back 26 years after missing out in the tournament.
Our vision is to come and pick a ticket, and I believe we're going to do that. We have the courage, and any team the teams that are in our group are ready to fight to the end.
This period, because of the performance of the federation, the government have to support to ensure that we get the desirable result.
18 players constitute the Congolese delegation. Majority are youth. DRC were runners-up in 2014, losing against Tunisia in the final. This Sunday, both squads relocated to Montfebe Hotel prior to the start of the competition on Tuesday. The 7 referees to officiate games are already in the country. Meantime, the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex has been brandished for the handball bonanza.
Edea in the littoral region has hosted the first edition of the International Workers' Marathon with participants from 5 African countries, including Cameroon. Justin Foimi emerged winner in the 42 kilometers men category, while Kenyan-born Cherito Isga won gold in the women's category. Dixon Ashu reports from Edea.
The marathon is made in 2 categories, the semi-marathon of 21 kilometers and the marathon itself of 42 kilometers. At the starting block were athletes from 5 African countries, the Central African Republic, Chad, Kenya, Rwanda and Cameroon. The kickoff is fixed at 8 a.m. Saturday, June 5 at the Edea Municipal Stadium. The trajectories are defined accordingly, and the population of Edea were out to witness the landmark event. At finish, Cameroonian-born Justin Foimi from the West region emerges winner of the 42-kilometer trajectory in the men's category, finishing the race in 2 hours, 33 minutes and 48 seconds, closely followed by Musa Luango from the Northwest region, while Oscar Wene from the center came third.
I'm very happy for winning this race because for starting I was not sure because I stayed like 9 months without training in Kenya, so around the time is not good, but I think that is good for my starting season. On
the ladies' side, same category, Kenyan-born Sherito Isga finishes the marathon in 2 hours, 54 minutes and 15 seconds, closely followed by Mildred Kintang from the Northwest region. In the semi-marathon of 21 kilometers, Frank Chupten championed the men's category, while Lilian Gesa wins the female category. They are all from the Littoral region. This first edition of the Workers' Marathon, organized by FECASTRA, has been observed to be the first step to a sporting event of international repute.
The Baccalaureate and GCE advanced level practical exams begin tomorrow, Monday. The Baccalaureate will qualify successful candidates for admission into universities and other higher institutes of learning. The A-level certificate, or the Baccalaureate, will also give successful candidates an opportunity to sit either other competitive entrance exams, as we hear in this report by Beatrice Losamba.
When a student sits the GCE A-level exams, he or she has reached the top of the ladder of secondary and high school education and is aiming for the university or graduate school next. The GCE Advanced Level Certificate opens that door to university studies, but the academic qualification is far from just being an entry qualification for universities and graduate schools in Cameroon, the United Kingdom, and several countries in the world. With an A-level certificate, one can have access to some jobs. It qualifies people sometimes for migration and other opportunities out of the academic sphere. Its French equivalent is a baccalaureate, and all are usually recognized at international levels. Baccalaureate and GCE A levels provide a good academic base for building careers. A holder is knowledgeable enough and apt to delve into varying fields of studies. The possibilities are wider with an A-level certificate or baccalaureate, much wider than what an O-level, probatoire or BPC can guarantee.
5 regional councils in the country have already met in their budgetary sessions and voted the budget for the year. The budget adopted is expected to cover operational expenses and other construction projects. Details with Constantine Baum.
3 billion CFA francs is the working budget for the Centre region. Their priority projects include the acquisition of office equipment as well as a piece of land that will serve as a base for heavy-duty equipment for the civil engineering department.
We are making all we can for the development of our region. Preparation of our regional plan of development. That is the next action.
The Littoral region voted and adopted a budget of 3 billion CFA francs to tackle the regional development plan for this year.
We can start by the road, electricity, to supply water, the housing.
2 billion 750 million CFA francs is a working budget for the Southwest region.
The budget will be used to run the affairs of the Regional Assembly between now and December 2021. There are so many things to be done.
The Northwest Regional Council will be working on a slightly more than 3 billion CFA francs budget to cover domains considered as the Regional Assembly's priorities. The West Regional Council has adopted its budget that stands at 2 billion 217 million 600,000 francs CFA.
That budget concerns only the salary, only the equipment, the maturation of our project for the next years.
The budgetary session for Adamawa is programmed for June 14, 2021. The respective regional council presidents have been in office for more than 100 days and have mastered the needs of their respective population.
As you've heard in that report, these budgets will enable the regional councils to carry on with their functions. The first budgets have been financed entirely by subventions from the state. Ebenezer Akanga expatiates on sources of financing for the budget of regional councils and regional assemblies.
Revenue for the first budget of regional councils and assemblies have been provided entirely by the state. The first budgets voted this week will be used to kickstart activities of the councils and assemblies. The General Code of Regional and Local Authorities lays down the sources of revenue for regional councils and assemblies. One of them is revenue from the state.
There are two main ways to finance decentralization. That is the transfer of taxes and also the Common Decentralization Fund, or the subvention that is being given by the state.
Other sources of revenue for regional councils and assemblies include tax revenue, proceeds from the use of property and provision of services, allocations and subsidies.
The state decides to create some taxes that is being granted to the regional and local authorities for them to be able to finance the activities, and those resources are being recovered either directly by fiscal administration at the level of the state and given to the regional and local authorities through means that are defined by the regulation in force, or we have taxes that are collected immediately by the regional and local authorities, either being council or region.
Domestic loans to be used in financing investments, donations and legacies are authorized.
We go over to the East region, where reports say life for the close to 59,000 Central African refugees is not always a bed of roses. These displaced persons live thanks to contributions from the government of Cameroon and humanitarian organizations. Tala LT reports.
The refugees who live in the 5 sites across the East region depend on the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, and a host of other partner organizations for food, shelter, education, healthcare, and other basic social amenities. With the help of the Cameroon government and other donor nations like the USA, Britain, France, Japan, Denmark, and Germany, this refugee population have managed to stay alive since they arrived Cameroon in 2013. Today, many refugees have been trained on petty income generating activities like agriculture, animal breeding, tailoring, and entrepreneurship, which they use to improve on their living conditions. Kids of school-going ages have been attending schools from nursery right up to the university level, entirely sponsored by this humanitarian organization. Life in these camps for the over 58,000 Central African refugees is certainly not a bed of roses, in spite of the efforts being made by the humanitarian bodies. In the refugee camp of Gado-Bajeri, the largest in the East region with a population of over 25,000, the problem of insufficient classrooms, shortage of teachers, and the unwillingness of some parents to send their kids to school still remains a big problem. There is also limited access to healthcare facilities around this refugee site, since the existing hospital staff and equipment cannot handle the large number of both refugee and their host population. To find a long-lasting solution to these problems, the government of Cameroon and that of the Central African Republic, with the coordination of the UNHCR, has for the past years been carrying out a voluntary repatriation program for these refugees.
And as you've heard, the government of Cameroon and its multiple partners in development have, since the arrival of the Central African refugees in the East region, been working in partnership to give these displaced persons a better life. Mokum Robert Achu reports that the main areas of concern include healthcare, education, nutrition, and economic autonomy. His report.
Representatives of Central African refugees in the different refugee camps in the East region will never hesitate at any given instance to express their gratitude to the Cameroon government and President Paul Biya in particular for allowing them access into Cameroon, where they are feeling at home away from home. Besides simply allowing them access to Cameroon, the intervention of the government is enormous. Other partners come in to give assistance in different domains of most basic necessities, beginning with food and nutrition.
In the camp of Gado, the World Food Program is assisting about 13,215 beneficiaries, especially refugees, through general distribution proceeding in kind. They are receiving, each beneficiary is receiving 4,400 per month.
We are providing cash to the beneficiaries to allow them, improve their food security, buy whatever they want, what type of food they have to consume, and their choice, respecting their own dignity.
Other development partners take care of specific aspects like health, education, habitat, conflict resolution, and other social and economic aspects necessary for their well-being in the different refugee camps.
In the southwest region, some top political figures from FACO have provided material and financial support to assist in the rehabilitation of the SDO's office for FACO, destroyed by a heavy storm recently. The envelope was handed over to the FACO SDO Emmanuel Ledoux Ngamba in his office in Limbe. Details with Yvonne Esamengowo.
Violent winds accompanied by heavy rains this past Monday in Limbe caused the destruction of the roof of the SDO's office. Consequently, a delegation of 4 has paid a courtesy visit to the SDO for FACO to demonstrate their moral and material support.
We have been here as individuals, but today we decided to come as a group to see what we can also do to support the work. As you see, the work is going on already, and we know that the SDO's office is an office which receives everybody for different purposes.
The SDO's office, according to Senator Fondersin, is of great administrative importance, reason why it shouldn't be neglected.
The FACO division has grown a lot, and though this will so much like this senior divisional office here, our prayer is that the government should either do something, either to renovate the building completely or to make provision for a brand new senior divisional office for the FACO division.
The SDO for FACO, Emmanuel Ledoux, has expressed his utmost gratitude to the representatives of the people, while hoping their support will go a long way to speed up the ongoing reconstruction works at his institution.
Patriots suffering from deficiencies related to hemiplegia and other stroke-related illnesses have been educated on a stimulating approach to revive their muscles and nerves. This was during a seminar organized by an NGO, KUPCA, for the promotion of health in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Health. Let's now listen to one of the members of the association, Etienne Chafak, of physiotherapists on the stimulating approach.
Today we are talking about hemiplegia patients. We want to bring out our own experience in the new method of taking care of hemiplegia patients in Cameroon. Nowadays in abroad, it's not now the same thing, because yesterday we was just giving something like a massage and mobilization to stimulate the brain so that he can pick up and start giving function to make a hemiplegic patient be happy and become also an actor of development, has been said by our head of the state.
Etienne Chafak speaking to Gerald Nanji Yambe. Members of the Active Youth for Paul Biya Japabi have carried out sensitization campaigns against COVID-19 at the Acacia Market here in Yaoundé, where they distributed COVID-19 preventive gadgets. On that campaign, here is Victor Siga.
The sensitization campaign by the Active Youth for Paul Biya was to sound loud the need to keep respecting the coronavirus barrier measures by these vendors.
Population have understand that the COVID-19 is a reality, but we wanted to allow them and sensibilize them not to slow the fight.
They taught the Acacia Market distributing face masks, soaps and hand washing facilities as effort to help prevent the dreaded pandemic. The gesture will continue in the days ahead with a sensitization campaign on living together.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
On a special page against COVID-19, anti-COVID-19 soldier Baldwin Sama, covering the international cycling tour, tells us that no cyclist was tested positive of the disease. Hello, Baldwin.
Thank you very much, and good evening to you, Benin Bumagana. It was one of the measures respected throughout the just ended international cycling tour of Cameroon, the respect of our land barrier measures against the coronavirus. We shall discuss that tonight with our guest, Dr. Elise Yakana, who was the head of the medical team covering this year's edition of the international cycling tour. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, good evening.
Explain to us, what can we retain at the end of this international cycling tour with regards to the respect of anti-COVID-19 barrier measures?
At the end of this 17 Cameroon cycling tour, we are retaining that we had at the end, until now, no person with a COVID test, with positive COVID test. Before the starting of the competition, we did COVID test to all of those taking part to the competition. During the competition, we were screening day by day all the people taking part to the competition. And by the end of the competition, now we are ongoing. We are doing tests for those leaving Cameroon to another countries.
Were there differences in the different tests? There were particular tests that were being carried out, or was a generalized particular test?
No, before they come in Cameroon, in their countries, they have to perform PCR COVID-19 tests. Arriving in Cameroon, we did them tests before 48 hours before the starting of the competition, and before leaving the country, they have to do others PCR COVID-19 tests.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elise Yakana, for that information. He is the director for the Akonolinga District Hospital, and he was the head of the medical team covering the just ended international cycling tour, with the good news being none of the cyclists who took part in this year's edition of the international cycling tour of Cameroon being tested positive for the coronavirus. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
And thank you very much, Baldwin Sama van Kamer. The Bakassa people in the Open Camp division of the West region now have a new traditional ruler. His Royal Highness Emako Matthew was caught and made ruler during a king-making ceremony in his hometown. That Killian completes that story.
The suspense at the explanade of the Bakassa Chiefdom Open Camp division of the West region on Saturday, May 29, was on the faces of all the attendees. It was after 71 years that the making of a new king was awaited here, following the demise of His Royal Highness Ngako Sebastian on March 10, 2021. From the SGO, other administrative authorities to the traditional dignitaries and Bakassa community, the curiosity was optimal. It was even made frightful by different types of masquerades, some stationed and others moving within the crowd as if to warn that no one should dare mystically or physically try any kind of foul game. Then came the kingmakers from a prolonged conclave. After research, Prince Emako Matthew was forcibly taken. His resistance was none of their business. As the local tradition demands, a young lady known to be a virgin and would be first wife of the new king was also caught from the crowd. The third royal arrest was the new king's closest aide. All three were taken to the sacred forest of La Cam, the highest traditional society, where they will live for 2 to 3 months ahead of the enthronement ceremony.
The late Director General of the National Ports Authority, Josue Yumba, has been laid to rest in his native Lok Bugwe village in the Ndom subdivision of the Senegal Maritime Division. Our Central Regional Correspondent Kwanchwa Marie Claire Do is here with the dirge.
The late Josue Yumba is a well-known professional who made his mark in many sectors of the Ministry of Transport before his appointment as Director General of the National Port Authority in June 23, 2009. With his very rich academic background, including a PhD in economic science from the University of Bordeaux in France, collaborators of the 68-year-old deceased described him as a man who was always committed to work and innovate.
I know him since 1992 as a young Secretary of State in the Ministry of Transport. And I remember that he has always been a very good example of how a civil servant should be. And now I've been working with him for the past 9 years as board chairman of Port of Douala, where he's a board member. So I can say that Cameroon has lost somebody who mastered the port sector in all of Cameroon.
One of the sons, speaking on behalf of his siblings, joined his voice to that of some elites to describe their father as a man who was dedicated not only to his immediate family members, but to all who came across him. Speaking on behalf of the staff of the National Port Authority, the representative said the institution has lost a great administrator.
Mr. Yumba worked so hard for the port sector in particular and for the transport sector in general.
Officiating the funeral service in the presence of government ministers, his colleagues and elites of the Sanaga Maritime Division, Reverend Dr. Bisonghong Ebenezer prayed for the repose of his soul before urging them to follow his example of good works and always make sure that they are ready at all times. The journey without returns of late Josue Yumba, who died on April 28, 2021, started on Thursday, June 3, with the coffining ceremony at the Yaoundé General Hospital mortuary. He leaves behind a widow, children, colleagues, friends, and family members to mourn him.
With our report that we come to the end of the 7:30 news. Tomorrow Monday, the legend Ben Menopufan will be back. I will see you again on Friday. God bless you.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.